But William's ghosts had either left or they were being good, because I made it to the club without incident and flopped on the sofa, waiting for someone to come tell me what the hell had just happened.
Velos is still working on getting memories altered. And because of the scale of the incident, we couldn't heal them up properly and had to leave their injuries intact. This is a complete nightmare!
Why are you yelling about it? It wasn't William's fault.
I'm yelling about it because I'm frustrated!
Well, you aren't the only one frustrated. Is that why we're all yelling?
I'm not the only one yelling either.
Yeah. When someone finally joined me in the club to catch me up on everything, it had kind of gone south pretty quickly. I glared at Guess and flopped back on the sofa. William wasn't even in the room, so I didn't know what she hoped to accomplish by yelling at me. I hadn't exactly volunteered to be pushed down the stairs by a ghost.
This has been building for days. I can't believe you didn't notice anything weird going on.
Hey, Guess, I feel you. I do. Everything in my life has been weird for 2 weeks. Also, feel you, Nora.
That's not what I mean, and you know it. I'm talking about small things. Missing items, things falling over, weird noises. Poltergeist stuff.
No! I frowned. That wasn't true, was it? Look, there were a few incidents, but I shrugged them off. Little things have happened from the very beginning when I was around William. My things would fall out of my backpack or whatever. I thought about the incident with my locker. But I guess they might have been getting worse lately.
Nothing at home? Given the circumstances, I'm sure at least one of them followed you there.
At home? No! The only weird thing at my house is our stupid brownie. Which actually had been acting strangely. I slapped my palm to my forehead. Eureka! It's all coming together! No way! Was it actually protecting me?
Protecting you?
Well, there was this one thing that happened the other day. There was glass in my food, but the brownie stopped me from eating it.
Glass in your food?
And then the air was let out of the car tires, and a few other things too. I just shrugged them all off.
Shrugged them off? How do you shrug off glass in your food?
Girl, I feel you. Guess it's me right now.
Girl, what is going on?
The brownie had been pranking my brother for days already. I thought it just switched targets. Besides, why would Will's ghost be after me? Or follow me home? The thought honestly never occurred to me. Guess if you would. Guess if you would, after all of this. I feel like it's one of these. I think it's this one. William, being a strong Esper, attracts a lot of spirits to him. They follow him, whisper to him constantly, and actually protect him. It's hard to know who and what these entities are, but it seems like they care about him at least a little bit. I originally thought they stuck close to him, but it seems like they're protective enough to even leave his side and stop people they don't want near him. There you go.
Because he's been spending time with you like crazy, and using that stupid amulet to keep them away so he could.
Wait, what?
He's had it on him almost non-stop lately.
I thought he was just using it when he was helping you out.
He's been using it so he can interact with you peacefully. So they were expressing frustration for days. And finally it culminated with this.
I didn't even think anything of it.
You have to think something of it when you're on this side of things. If you told us all of this earlier, we'd have done something about it.
You would have done what? Wouldn't you have just made him stop using the amulet and stay away from me? The realization suddenly hit me. That's what they'd been talking about. Yep. Because that's exactly what you did earlier today, isn't it? You told him to stay away from me.
For your well-being!
What about his well-being?
You are aware one of those things tried to shove you off the stairs, right?
Yeah, I was there for that. Thanks.
William understands why it has to be like this.
Understands, yes. But does he like it? Is he okay with it? Clearly not. Why haven't you guys just gotten rid of that stupid group that follows him around? I don't understand why that's so hard.
Because they protect him!
From what?
You have no idea the things that high-level espers face, especially people like William. He is one of the top-ranked psychics in the world. There are less than 10 E15 espers alive, and he's one of them!
E15? That ranking sounds impressive. What does it mean? What does it mean, Guess? Give me all the details. I've been waiting so long for this. 15 is the highest number on the Esper scale. There are only a few dozen people in the world who are above level 12, and of those, less than 10 are ranked 15. William is one of those. I wonder where Spencer ranks. Probably like a 2.
It's a constant onslaught of things that want him. Constant. And in a town like Pine Hollow, even worse. There are things out there that would love to get their hands on him. Things that have already tried before.
So the price for safety is isolation. What kind of life is that for him? What's the point of being alive if he doesn't get to live?
Everyone else's lives are important too! You have no idea what kind of things would happen if some high-level ancient got their hands on someone with William's abilities.
So, keeping him safe isn't even about him. It's about everyone else. You're so worried about everyone else. Who worries about him?
I worry about him. Do you think I enjoy having to isolate him? Do you think I really like that? I hate it. I've known that kid for years. Longer than you. Don't think you care about him more than I do. But sometimes we have to make tough choices. And this is one of them.
So that's why even the club members avoid him. Not because of his preferences, like some people apparently want me to believe. That's just the rule, isn't it? Let William take the fall for everyone else. And the one time he tries to get close to someone, because it doesn't go well, it's all our fault for trying to just be friends.
I know it wasn't your fault, and it wasn't William's either. But he's been responsible for numerous incidents here at school and around town.
Because of his ghosts? That's not his fault!
We know that, but it still makes things hard. Half of what Velos and I do is keep an eye on him. I've been working with him on controlling his abilities, and he's gotten better. But when he's under emotional stress, things like what happened today happen.
Just a quick note about emotional stress. Usually a person's emotional stress is escalated when they're intentionally isolated from everyone and everything, and all they have for friends are Yandere controlling ghost people. So, you know, if you want to help with his emotional stress, maybe find, like, a better group of ghosts that are not completely obsessive over who he gets to hang out with. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of ghosts, or haunts, or whatever. Surely we could be, like, a little selective about who hangs out with him? Maybe?
Because if you think that mess on the stairs was caused by spirits, you're mistaken. All that damage was pure William. And that isn't even the worst incident he's caused. And no, he never means to.
Man, all the journal entries with this conversation. William is one of the strongest espers in the world. It's a pretty big title, and one that's a little terrifying, to be honest. His telekinesis is apparently so completely terrifying that he has to keep it carefully in check. I'm not exactly sure what he could do if he really let go, but apparently there are a lot of shady creatures out there that would love to get control of him so they could find out. So when Mark said that he could take on a whole gaggle of vampires, he wasn't kidding.
I know he's a good kid, but being a good kid doesn't mean he's not also incredibly dangerous. So the agency tends to pay really close attention to what he does.
Guess let out a long sigh and rubbed at her eyes.
Look, as far as you can remember, a flock of starlings smashed into the windows and broke them. Understand?
That's the story you went with? That can't even halfway explain the damage that happened to the stairwell.
We can't just completely change the memories of what happened. We have to start with a grain of truth and alter it from there.
A flock of starlings is better than saying, like, an isolated earthquake or something? Granted, it would be very isolated, but still.
We couldn't come up with anything else.
Those were some pretty angry starlings if they ripped the railing off the wall and tied it in knots.
Velo's already fixed much of the damage. The story we came up with should be consistent with what's left behind. And it might be better if you keep your distance from William going forward.
Seriously? You're still going to...
You weren't to blame for what happened today, but you were definitely the catalyst. Because of you, he
tried to live a normal life. And you're saying he has to live in isolation so he doesn't inconvenience anyone else.
Inconvenience? Do you know how many students are hurt right now? And you would be dead if he hadn't been there to catch you.
Which is just another way of saying he saved me.
If you hadn't been around him in the first place, he wouldn't have had to.
So I have to just abandon him like everyone else. That's not happening.
It's for your own good. And his. And everyone else.
No.
If something happens to you, it'll just hurt him more.
If I have to choose between hurting him by ignoring him and hurting him by being with him, then I'm going to choose the latter.
Ugh. Kids. This isn't a fairy tale where everyone gets a happy ending.
That's the kind of tale I'm used to anyway. And if that's much of a problem, then do something about it. Isn't that your job?
What do you think we are? We don't exactly go around catching ghosts and keeping them in ghost prison when they cause problems.
Then what do you people do? Force stupid rules on people and make everyone miserable?
We keep everyone in this town safe!
At what cost? At the expense of whatever cryptic happens to have caused a little trouble this week? We're people too!
I know that we're people too! Stop it.
Aw. We both froze at the sound of William's soft voice. He was standing just outside the door to the library, looking utterly miserable. Where did he come from? How did he even get in there? Definitely not through the club.
Stop fighting because of me.
This isn't because of you, William.
She's right. You should just stay away from me.
I can't do that.
I don't want people to argue because of me.
That's not why we're arguing. Oh no, not the crying. Oh, why you have to get me sad, William? Please, his face already breaks my heart without the tears.
I hurt people again.
You saved me. Don't forget about that part.
I shouldn't. I'm so sorry.
Tears were streaming down his face as he fled to the hall outside the club. I watched him vanish from sight, unsure what to do. Maybe this really was all my fault. I was the one who reached out to him first. Maybe I should have just stayed away. I didn't even know anymore. An agonized scream cut through my self-pity like a knife. Guess and I shared a look, then bolted for the door. That was William! What happened? William was standing in the hall, clutching his abdomen as if in pain. Allie was a few feet away, looking startled.
What happened?
I don't know. I just came up, and he was just standing there staring at the walls. Then he screamed.
Guess grabbed William by the shoulders, trying to get him to look at her.
William! What's wrong?
Oh. I guess the ghosts are on strike.
They're gone. They're gone. All of them are gone.
The windows rattled violently as Guess drew him into her arms, stroking his hair. Just like a big sister. Very much so.
Calm down, sweetie. Who's gone? All of them. All the ones that followed me. They're...
His voice broke and he looked up at her, his expression so lost.
It got to them.
What? The ghost killer? Wait, it had wiped out his entire crew just now? But even so, how could he be so upset over that? The entire incident earlier was because of them. Girl, some of those ghosts may have been with him since he was a small child, pretty much. And not all of them were murderous beasts that tried to kill people. Oof. I can't even imagine, especially when you've been alone your entire life and all you have is like these ghosts. Okay, yeah, a couple of them are not good, but I imagine the majority of them were fine. This boy's had like a lot of death and suffering going on. Oi. Though, that didn't mean they should die. And William wasn't someone who would be glad about that.
I didn't want this. I didn't want them to be destroyed forever. I know. Come on. We need to get you somewhere safe.
Guess led him away, leaving me and Allie in the hall alone. I watched them go, feeling so far away and helpless.
Man, I've never seen him like that.
That thing that's killing spirits got his.
Seems like it. Damn.
How had it managed to show up back at the school right when everyone was distracted? I thought it had moved on to attacking spirits around town. Allie put an arm around me.
Come on, let's get your stuff and get home. It's been a long day.
I couldn't argue with that. Everything had fallen apart so fast. Allie, was I wrong for trying to get to know him? For... I don't know.
You weren't wrong. Sometimes things like this happen and no one was wrong. It's just the way things are.
If this was just the way things were, it just meant this side of things sucked even more than I'd realized. I mean, stuff like that happens IRL without ghosts and fairies and vampire shenanigans anyway. So, yeah. Sometimes life gives you lemons, and you can't make lemonade out of it. But hopefully, we will make lemonade out of this mess and get that happy ending out of this tragedy with William. Hey. It was amazing how few answers were to be found on my ceiling. No matter how long I lay in bed staring at it. I know, right? I rolled over, hugging a pillow close to me as I stared at the window. I had really let myself get distracted from my original purpose, hadn't I? Ghosts, ghost killers, weird drifters. William. None of those things were what I was supposed to be focusing on at all. And because I hadn't made any progress at all on the sleepwalking front. In fact, it kind of felt like everyone had forgotten about it entirely. Except now I was being pushed out of the rest of it and ordered to mind my own business, basically. And as much as I knew it was probably better for everyone that way, given what had happened. Ugh. I flopped on my back, pulling the pillow over my face. Meh. Don't forget you get to have a great chat with your brother tomorrow. I flung the pillow away and reached next to the bed to grab my book bag. I fished around in it for my journal, but paused when something else fell out as well. Something wrapped in white paper. I carefully opened it to find William's amulet, the one he used to keep his ghosts away. When did he have time to even put it in there? I lifted it carefully, holding it up to the light. It was so pretty, definitely old, and there was something about it. It felt like it was vibrating faintly under my fingers. Magic? I had no idea, really. I didn't exactly know what magic felt like. But why would he give this to me? I picked up the paper, glancing over the neat writing on it. Oh wow, he has very nice writing. Whew, jealous.
I want you to know that none of this was your fault. I knew better. I knew what I was doing would cause problems. It's just that, for the first time in a really long time, I really wanted something. I wanted to spend time with you, to see you laugh, your smile, to hear your voice. So I pushed them away because it was the only way to make sure they didn't try to attack you. But I knew they would get angry. They always do. And I pushed them away anyway. And they lashed out at everyone else instead. On the stairs, when I realized they were trying to hurt you, it made me angrier than I've been in a long time. Ever, actually. And because I can't control my powers, everyone was hurt. Even you. This whole thing was because of me. I want you to have this. It'll keep things away. I don't need it anymore.
I feel like you need it more than ever, sir. Yeah, your regular ghost gang can't stay with you, but surely it's gotta help at least against the big, bad ancient thing that's trying to possess your bod, right? Oh. I held it in my lap, and before I realized it, there were tears. I felt so helpless in the face of all this. The sleepwalking, Spencer, William. I didn't know what to do about any of it, and I hated that. The end of secrets. What secrets are left? Okay, let's go. I'd never really been much of a lucid dreamer. So every time lately I realized I was dreaming while I was doing it, it came with a sense of dread. Because that always meant I was sleepwalking. So when I first became aware of myself wrapped in fuzzy darkness with that raspy voice at the back of my mind muttering about having to get back home, I immediately tried to force myself awake. It was a frustrating effort. Waking up was too automatic for me to really know how to do it. I just tried to grasp onto any sensation, anything at all to use as an anchor to the waking world. Beyond the veil of darkness, I had the vague sense of the familiar outlines of my room. I had the strangest sensation of another presence lifting their head and taking notice of me. A presence inside my own mind. Sleep. The raspy voice switched to cooing softly, and for a moment shadows closed back in and I was nearly lulled back to sleep. No! Panic ward of strangely foreign sense of fatigue that wasn't at all physical. I was just so tired. tired of this world, tired of these people. I wanted to go home. The thoughts bouncing around in my head didn't feel at all like they were mine. Who's there? Who else is there? It was my mind, so why did it feel like someone else was watching me? My foot came down on something that sent burning tingles shooting up my calf muscles, and I bit back a scream of someone else's rage as I jolted awake. The worst thing about that feeling of coming back was the momentary disorientation as I worked out where I was and what I was doing. At the moment, I was standing at my doorway with my right foot feeling like it was on fire. I jerked back away from the barrier of herbs on the threshold, hissing softly as I scraped my foot against the carpet to rub away the feeling. Again. I'd been sneaking out again. I inhaled slowly, counting 5 heartbeats before I let it out again. I hate this. The only good thing was that I was still in my room. The herbs were working. That was a little beacon of light to grasp onto. But even so, I had to figure out what was causing this. Why was I trying to get out at night? Where was I so determined to go? Home. That's what I'd been thinking in my dream. But what did that mean, and why did it always feel like there was someone with me? As I turned back to my bed, I rubbed my hands up my arms. It was so cold in my room. I checked the window almost on instinct. My heart leapt to my throat when I saw the figure there, and I took an involuntary step backwards. Hockey mask? It felt like my rib cage collapsed in, constricting both my lungs and heart. Oh, it's you again. The wraithy one. Okay, so not quite a random attack then in the forest. Although this is the first time you've come back to find me since then. I couldn't even find my voice to scream. It was that thing from the woods. It let out a strange gurgle, but didn't move toward me. My brain had gone numb with fear, but I was trying to just think. Should I scream for help? Or what? I wasn't sure. Okay, so it's tried to possess us before, or something. We have the amulet now. Maybe we could use that? What good was screaming for help? What could any member of my family do to help? The spirit thing didn't move, and neither did I. Oh man, I could really use one of those defensive spells Allie was going to teach me. What do I do? What do I do? Sure. Greetings, ghostly being. Hi. My voice was trembling, and I could barely squeak the words out. No response. Not that I expected it. Whatever it was, it didn't really seem like the talkative sort. More like the attack you and murder you sort. I shuddered, remembering how that felt. How are you doing? It still didn't react in any visible way. The stillness was making me antsy. It was better than being attacked, but I had the feeling it was sizing me up. All I could picture was a cat ready to pounce. I took an anxious step backwards, my heel coming down on the barrier in the door. I hissed again and jerked my foot away as the one drawback to the barrier became quite clear. My exit was blocked. Not that I really wanted to run through the house chased by a ghost, but it did somewhat narrow the available options on how to handle this. Unless... My gaze traveled towards the bathroom I shared with Spencer. The door was very slightly ajar. I edged that way, keeping my eyes on the ghost. So, I see you've invited yourself into my room. Which is kind of rude, you know, and creepy. Not that I'm judging. Even if I get out of my room, there's nothing stopping that thing from following me. So how do I make it leave? My eyes went to my bedside table where I'd left the amulet William had given me. It was supposed to keep evil spirits away. Clearly, it didn't work on keeping this one out of my room, but I wondered if it would at least stop it from being able to touch me. Or maybe I have to actually be holding it for it to have any sort of effect. Could be. I had no idea. Maybe it didn't work for me at all. I mean, I feel William would have said that in his letter. Yeah, run into Spencer's room and have him chop Suey the spirit in the face. I'm sure that'll work great for everybody. I feel like the amulet's probably our best bet. Let's give that a try. I caught a slight movement from the intruder. It was advancing slowly, just enough I could barely see it. Whoa! Whoa! I flailed slightly, still too far to make a casual dive for the amulet. Just calm down! I kept my eyes on the figure as I inched closer to the nightstand. Never in my life had I thought I'd be in a situation where I was trying to talk down a freaking ghost from attacking me. I really wished I had William's expertise with spirits, or Guess's ability to beat them up. Okay, have we actually established this as a spirit? Because if it's a spirit, does that mean it's leaning more towards the fae side of spirits, like kind of earthy? If we can see it, is that what that means? If I can just distract it for a few minutes. I don't really know what your problem with me is, but I'm sure we can work it out. Come to think of it, the 2 times that it's found us is right after we got our body back from Rule. Maybe it eats fae? And so now when it, well, I don't know. Maybe it's not trying to eat Nora, it's trying to eat Rule inside of... I don't know. I'm just speculating. I don't know enough. The edge of its torn robe thing fluttered slightly as it moved toward me a little faster. Panicking, I held up my hands. Wait! Just stop! I mean, there's no reason for you to attack me, right? Almost there. We can talk it out, right? Just maybe over coffee or something? I know this shop. The door to the bathroom opened and I heard a familiar voice. I was wondering how long it was going to take for her to be carrying on like this, and Spencer being like, what the heck is going on in here? Nora, why are you talking to your... Spencer, stay back! What? Ghost thing didn't like the interruption. It rushed at me, its black robes billowing out. Okay, so you can see this too. Ah! I dove toward the bed for the amulet on the nightstand. Thank goodness it was on the nightstand. My hand closed around it, and I spun around, staggering to my feet. The strange spirit was right there. I screamed and held one arm over my face as I lifted the amulet. Nora! Cold air wrapped around me, and I was so certain it was all over. But something blasted outward from my hand. I had no idea what magic felt like, but if I had to describe it, that's what I'd have said it was. A rush of warm air swirled around me, pushing back the cold. I peeked under my arm. The ghost thing was curled over by the window, black smoke pouring off its hunched shape. It looked up at me and just screamed. A terrifying sound that resonated in my head. With a wail, it rushed me again. I staggered backward, still holding up the amulet. Get out! Okay, that works. There was another blast of air and heat that sent the ghost flailing back toward the window again. The entire room shook as glass shattered. Uh-oh. Then the ghost sort of broke apart, flaking away and leaving only a few bits of charred remnants that looked vaguely like feathers. Dang, girl, did you just beat your first ghost? I stood there trying to catch my breath. Oh my God. Did I kill it? Nora? Why did you do that? I whirled around and punched him. Idiot! He scowled and rubbed his shoulder. What was that for? I don't know. I just needed to hit something. And you hit your brother? Well, don't hit me!
Nora? Nora!
Footsteps thundered on the stairs, and honestly, I was shocked they were just now making it up to my room. Yeah, my window spontaneously shattered, and Spencer came to check on me, and I freaked out, and I punched him in the arm, and that's why there's a bruise. Oh, we get to see Dad's pajamas! Nice. They burst in seconds later, eyes wide.
Nora, what's going on? Was that glass break?
She stopped short when she saw the carnage. My room was a complete mess. Glass everywhere, feathers. Yeah, a flock of starlings flew, like, just shot through my window. Glass exploded. They were going so fast, they spontaneously disintegrated, leaving only a few feathers. Should have been there. It was crazy. Me, Spencer standing off to one side. Mom and Dad both stood there alternating between eyeing us and surveying the mess. It was Mom who found her voice first, and as she came toward me.
What on earth happened?
I stole a glimpse at Spencer as I furiously tried to come up with an excuse. His face was white as a sheet, and it didn't look like he was going to be any help in explaining this. Raven! Spencer's like, oh my god. Confusion flashed over Mom's face when I choked out the word. It was a huge bird, a raven, I think. It flew right through the window and was freaking out everywhere.
We heard you two screaming.
Well, I mean, a huge freaking bird was flapping around my room. It scared me half to death. And Spencer rushed in when he heard the commotion. It really flew through the window? I motioned to the charred, feathery-looking things all over the floor and the broken window as evidence. I mean... Dad approached the window, carefully navigating the broken glass.
A raven? Are you sure?
Well, I mean... pretty sure, yeah. I mean, it was huge. And black. Bigger than a crow, for sure. That part at least was true. Ghost thing was definitely bigger than a crow.
Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine.
What happened to it?
We got it back out the window. Finally.
Are you sure it was a raven and not an owl? Does it even matter what kind of bird it was?
I was gonna say, like, in the heat of the moment, would you really be able to tell the difference? There was a bird. Don't worry, Dad, it was a bird.
Still, a bird bursting through the window in the middle of the night.
I heard something about a flock of swallows breaking windows at the school today. Maybe something about the weather is affecting them. Bro! I shot him a grateful look for helping cover for me. Thank goodness. It's not like they'd believe him if he said it was a ghost, but it was still nice to have backup. Hopefully, defaulting to the same excuse the school had used would work in my favor. Starlings.
Maybe.
We can discuss this in the morning. Shane, do we have something we can put over the window?
I think there's some plastic down in the basement.
Nora, honey, will you be fine in here for the rest of the night if we cover the window?
I glanced at the clock. It was just after 3 in the morning. Ugh, I probably won't be able to sleep for the rest of the night. I guess.
Let's get this mess cleaned up first. There are feathers everywhere.
Save some of those feathers for Allie coming over, though. Low-key, like, you should probably save some of those. She started supervising the cleanup, and I didn't have much time to think about anything else. I didn't think I'd sleep more, but by the time I finally fell into my bed again, curled up with William's amulet pressed to my chest, I was tired enough that I dozed off for a while longer before my alarm went off.